Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Thanks for joining me here today on the show. We are back with another Cabral HouseCall, answering more of our community's questions, just like we do each and every weekend. Excited to be able to dive into your questions, just like yesterday. Yesterday, we answered a bunch of questions on food allergies versus food sensitivities. We spoke about the difference between sugar and sugar from fruit and how many servings per day you might want to look at for your body type. What else? We talked about mouth sores or canker sores or ulcers that happen from workouts. What does that mean and potentially why? Then we went over, chlorine dioxide as the miracle mineral solution. We also spoke about tendinitis and the different causes potentially and the potential fixes for that as well. And then the differences in nutritional supplements from different companies and what to look for all the different popular types. Hopefully you tuned in. That was episode 1616. You can find that at stephencabral.com that was 1618. Go to stephencabral.com/1618. And today will be episode 1619. So if you want to follow along, read the questions right along with me. You can do that right now at stephencabral.com/1619. We'll be answering as many of your questions today as possible. They all are answered in the order they come in. So this first one came in on June 8th. So we're looking like we are, the typical 5-6 weeks behind. We're usually right around 6 weeks behind. We get to about 6 questions on a Saturday, 6 questions on a Sunday. That's typically the average is how we've been answering them. So if you've answered your question before June 8th, it has already been answered. And of course, if you've asked it after June 8th, 2020, it will be coming on a upcoming Cabral HouseCall weekend show. All right, let's get into the show today. First question's from Staci. Staci says, have you ever heard of the device Lumen? If so, what's your opinion on it? I'm in good shape. I eat well, do not need to lose weight, but I feel like I'm not getting the most out of my food and exercise. I follow an intermittent fasting, carb cycling eating plan, but thinking it might be too limiting for my workout schedule, and I'm 112 pounds at 5'6". I'm researching the Lumen device to see if it would help me better learn to intuitively eat by teaching me my metabolic readings. Your opinion would be greatly appreciated. Okay, good question. I've used a device like the Lumen before in a clinical-based setting. I actually had someone on the team, registered dietitian. I forget, it was called Body something or other. It was a very expensive machine. It was like $2,000 something, maybe $3,000. But it gave people their basal metabolic rate. We could then calculate resting metabolic rate, and we could add in activity factors. And so basically it tells you how many calories you can eat essentially per day. Well, so there's different ways. We do this without a device, and we can do it through a few different ways. So one is we can say, write down everything that you're eating for a week, and is this typical for you? Okay, great. And we can calculate how many calories that is. You can also do that with pretty much any good food app out there right now. I've used Lose It for many, many years. Again, it's not just to lose weight. You can actually put a goal to gain weight if you want, and then check that out. But again, I've used many other devices. So the Renfo scale I just recommended on a couple podcasts back on a Friday review. The Oura Ring will give you a pretty good estimate of calories burned as well as your resting metabolic rate, and then your activity factored into that as well to see if you're balanced out. I mean, I've used so many. I've used the Whoop Strap. I've used a bunch of them, and they're pretty close. So the thing is this, though, if you are gaining weight, you can always reduce, and you kind of can figure out exactly how many calories per day. So I might be doing a review on this product in the future. I haven't used it myself, so my actual advice may change in the future. It's a good device. I think I don't know its efficacy. I don't know if it works exactly. Of course, if I use it, then I can share that information with you. But it has practicality to it if you want to know exactly how many calories essentially you are burning based on your metabolic rate. Okay? Ken's up next. Dear Dr. Cabral, I'm a 79-year-old man, still very active and feel quite healthy. I always had some distension after most meals, but for the last 2 years, my abdomen feels consistently distended. I look like I'm 3 months pregnant. Is it safe for me to take probiotics to see if this helps? All the fad media keeps trying to sell probiotics as a magic pill for bloating, but I remember you said something like if you have gut issues, you wouldn't want to take probiotics until you fix those issues. Thank you for your help to clarify this. My wife and I love listening to your podcast. Ken, appreciate you tuning into the show. Love that you are looking to fix the underlying root cause and not just kind of maybe use a Band-Aid based approach. All right, let's give you 3 ways to go about this. The first one is this. If you know that you get distended, which means your kind of stomach feels like it sticks out and it's bloated after most meals, think about the meals where it doesn't get distended, because it's possible that you have a reaction or don't digest certain foods well. And maybe those are more beans and legumes. And then you just cut those out, at least temporarily, and maybe you're good. The second way, the best way to do it, is to run the 3 gut-based labs. That's the bacteria and parasite stool test. That is the Candida, Metabolic, and vitamins test. And then it's the food sensitivity test. You can find all 3 of those at equilibriumnutrition.com. And they're certainly discounted when you buy them as a bundle. That's the best thing that you can do. And then after that, well, I'll give you 4 things to do. The next one, you could simply do the CBO protocol, right? You could do the CBO protocol, add the citracidyl drops if you want, and that's great. And then you'll get our whole sensitive gut guide, the plan, all that good stuff that goes through it. And then the 4th way is if you wanted to try a probiotic, the specific one you may want to try is called the Clean Gut Probiotic because it contains Saccharomyces boulardii, which very may well help with some yeast overgrowth if you do have yeast overgrowth. So there you go. I mean, I would run the labs. That would be the first choice. Second choice is going to be that CBO protocol with citracidyl. I don't know if there's any H. pylori or anything like that, but again, a stool test would tell you that. And then, of course, the last choice would be the Clean Gut Probiotic. All right. Thanks, Ken. Molly's up next. Dear Dr. Cabral, I completed the CBO protocol and finished her this March. I've been taking the foundational protocol supplements for almost a year. My TSH for the last 25 years has been around a 3.5, which I only learned through you that this is very high. For the last 6 months, I've taken Equilibrium Nutrition's thyroid support, but when I recently did EN's thyroid adrenal test, my TSH is now higher at a 4.3, with all the other hormones being normal, including cortisol. I'm really confused because I don't know what is causing my thyroid issues if I've tested everything, including iron and ferritin, and everything else is normal. I personally feel great, and the only symptoms I have are scaling skin on my shins and mild hair loss. Is there anything I'm missing? I would rather get to the root cause instead of taking glandulars. Also, how long could someone like me be on thyroid support capsules? How would I know if it's working or not? Thank you for any guidance you can share. I appreciate you so much, Molly. Molly, I appreciate you. Thank you. And you've done great on your health. I mean, everything's good. Life is good, right? You're healthy. You're a healthy human being. Your hormones are balanced. Everything is good. So here's the thing. A 3.5 is not super high. Super high for a TSH is above a 5. Now, I've worked with people with a TSH of 300. Now, of course, they had autoimmune thyroid issues, and that's not normal by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, 3.5, not so bad. 4.3, not good. It should be between 0.5 and 2, so I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's what we want it to be from a functional medicine optimal standpoint. So what does it mean when it's not where it should be? Well, it typically means there's GI issues, there's stress, there's viruses, or there's heavy metals. Seems like you did the gut-based work. Fantastic. Hopefully you're taking the Clean Gut Probiotic or the daily probiotic support right now. Hopefully you're not under-eating calories and not under-eating carbs. That could be one issue, Molly. That's one to really look at because that might be the issue, which is causing a neurological stress in the body, not just cortisol, because cortisol is only one type of stress. I would make sure you have enough magnesium in your diet, so like something like the full spectrum magnesium. I would make sure you get enough REM sleep and deep sleep. That's an important thing to look at. I would do the heavy metal detox if you haven't done the heavy metal detox, just to make sure that there are no heavy metals there. I would work on relaxing the nervous system with biofeedback or binaural beats or meditation or flow tank or acupuncture or emotional freedom technique, whatever works for you. And of course, you could take one of the thyroid glandulars, which is a natural-based product, and you could do that for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and then retest. But again, test them as variables for that response. You're on the right path. You're probably not that far off. And to be honest, if everything is good and just your TSH is off, well, it's still off. You still want to work on it. But, I don't know that I would be all that worried if the other things are being taken care of. The daily thyroid support is selenium. It's potassium iodine, ashwagandha. It's a lot of great things. So I have no problem with you keeping that in there. One more thing you might want to add in is the activated B complex. All right. But again, no treatment protocols, no diagnosis, no cure over a podcast. All right. That's not what we're doing. So thank you, Molly, for writing in, and I hope that gets you started or moves you forward. Greg's up next. Hi, thank you for everything that you do. I'm looking to purchase a 15-watt max infrared sauna for my home. To go in the office, it is more important. Please let me know which one you recommend, as some are not healthy, and I want to make sure I am doing more harm than good. Semi on a budget. Thank you. All right. Well, that makes my answer easy, okay? Because most infrared saunas, like a Clearlight, like a Sunlighten, the bigger box-based ones, I think a 15 watt is a small wattage, meaning like you can plug into a regular outlet. You're not going to be able to get that with one of those. You need one of those big, like, what do you call them, like 220s with like a dryer, right? It's a bigger outlet. So, Greg, the best thing to do is go to stevencabral.com/podcasts. Okay, let's do that together. So anytime you have a question, go to stevencabral.com/podcasts. When you go to the search box, I want you to do this. Scroll up from the little drop down, type in Therasage, all right? THERASAGE. Okay. And let's find the podcast for you. Well, it's on the shopping guide for 2018-1020, and it is on 874 as well. How saunas boost your immune system and fight cancer. All right, I would check that out. And then the first link below that is going to be the low EMF sauna. And that's the one also for a budget, okay? So remember, you can't get an EMF sauna with completely free of EMFs. I tried to do all the testing last year. Many of you heard me last holiday season say I was creating my own EMF sauna, no EMF sauna. Through my testing, doesn't seem possible. And every other company is not possible, right? And we don't even specialize in that. So the best you can do is a lower EMF sauna, and that should be okay. So check that out, or just go to stevencabral.com/874, and you'll get the link for that. If there's any discount codes, of course, we would put it in there when available. All right, thanks, Greg. Pam's up next. Hello, Dr. Cabral. I read that fenugreek oil in Ayurveda along with a breast massage to help women with saggy or smaller breasts. Is this a safe oil for me to use in this way? I'm 49 and don't have estrogen dominance, since it has phytoestrogens, and would consider consuming fenugreek safe for the same issue. Thank you. You are my health guru, and I value your opinion greatly. Well, I appreciate that, Pam. Thank you very much. So I'm not against fenugreek at all. So fenugreek oil is great for the hair. It's great for the skin. There's all sorts of beauty-based benefits to it. Never recommended for a breast massage. Olive oil, however, is what I've recommended before for women who feel like your breast may be sagging or the skin isn't as toned. Olive oil is one that I've always recommended. It does not have those phytoestrogen-based properties. So that's one that you might want to look at. It's naturally anti-inflammatory. It's a monounsaturated fat. So, all those things are, I think, highly effective. Now, at the same time, many women have used fenugreek oil as well. So that'll kind of be your, this is a thing you could do too. Maybe use it for 4 weeks, not ongoing. Try it out. And then you could use olive oil for a month, and then maybe you alternate again for another month. But fenugreek is, if you haven't looked it up for Ayurveda, has many, many uses. Again, one of them we've used with the hair, but for sure for the skin as well. So, Pam, hopefully that helps. Again, olive oil, typically what I've recommended, because it's very, very clean, very, very safe. But I have no problem with you trying fenugreek oil as well. All right, Michael's up next. Quick question. It says, I am local to Boston. Do you take in-house appointments? Okay, let's see if we can answer that. In-house meaning in my office. I went completely virtual in 2019. So I do all virtual-based appointments now because my new office, when I switched, it no longer has a waiting room. And it's actually just one big room that I use for video recording, podcast recording, interviews, all the crazy things that go down in their small meetings, all that fun stuff. And do I come to people's homes? No, but I actually used to way back in the day. That was way back in the day. That was before 2012. So, but I have a colleague of mine that will come to your home for some people, and they're a health coach. And so you can simply just email support@equilibriumnutrition.com, and we'd be able to help locally or virtually because we work with people all over the world. All right. Taylor is up next. Okay, so Taylor is asking, hello, I'm currently looking to get my breast implants removed. I've done the Dr. Brawl detox and protocols, etc., and tests, but still seem to not regain optimal health. I'm in the process of consulting with surgeons, and one has recommended fat transfer. They liposuction fat from different sites like the thighs and clean the fat and then place it in your natural breast tissue. Does Dr. Brawl have any opinions on this? Some people have said they are fine, recovery is brutal, and others have said they have lumpy breast tissue, which makes doing a breast check complicated. And I'm unsure if it has only been in Australia for about 12 years now, but it was recommended as apparently I will have concave chest wall until my ribs pop back out in maybe 6 to 12 months, and I won't look as deformed, in quotes. I'm thinking it's okay because it's my own body fat, but at the same time, toxins accumulate in your fat. But if it is washed, would it be safe? Thank you for all you do. Okay, let me see if I can answer this to the best of my ability. I am not an expert on breast explants or explantation, meaning having your synthetic breast implants removed. So we worked with many, many women who've had their breast implants removed and ended up doing better afterwards. And that's because of the toxicity from the breast implant themselves. And sometimes it's not even the toxicity, actually. It's the immune system attacking what it knows to be something foreign in the body. All right, so I think that that's potentially a very healthy thing for you to be doing. Now, when we get into what is the best replacement, that becomes a little bit more tricky. You would think that taking your own fat from one section to another would be the best idea. And it seems to be. Again, I'm not an expert on this. It seems to be. However, cleaning of the fats, as long as I don't know what they're cleaning it with, it is your fat. So the thing is, the toxins are actually stored inside of the fat. So you can't clean the insides of the adipose tissue. To my knowledge, I don't know how that would be done, but I don't believe that you can. So what you're doing is you're cleaning around the area of the adipose tissue, and then you're placing the adipose tissue back in. I do agree that since it is a different composition in terms of how it looks in different areas of your body, such as your thigh or your glutes, your butt, that it may look different in the breasts. But again, you'd have to rely on your plastic surgeon for that, since that is not my area of expertise. So again, I know I'm not doing the best job at answering that question, but that's to the best of my knowledge. And I would simply say to look on others and really lean on others for their expertise in that area. I can just give you the advice that I can think of right now. Okay, so Savannah is going to be up next and last today. Dr. Brawl, I found your work a year ago and my health has improved so much. Physically, I'm feeling so much better. My fibromyalgia, migraines, UTIs have completely gone away. Thank you. However, mentally, I still struggle. I'm battling OCD for over 10 years. I've taken the organic acids, food sensitivity, and heavy metals test and done the detox and those protocols. I notice my OCD gets worse around the week before I get my menstrual cycle. My question is, should I take the hormone lab or the neurotransmitters lab if I can only do one? Second question is, my OCD and depression were quite terrible during my first pregnancy, and I'm hoping to get pregnant soon. Is there anything I can do while pregnant this time to better manage my mental health while using supplements for my hormones if this is hormone related? Hope that makes sense. Hoping to have a smoother pregnancy than the last time. Thanks again for your podcast. Savannah, thank you so much for the question. And inside of your question, you answered it for me. So the very beginning of your question, you said, basically you're dealing with obsessive compulsive disorder. And it gets worse about a week before your menstrual cycle. I was leaning towards the hormone test, but I said, you know what? We can probably figure it out, most likely estrogen dominance, but it could simply be a drop in both estrogen and progesterone. And so I said, let's run the neurotransmitter test because really, this could be low levels of serotonin or low levels of GABA. And that's the bottom line. That's typically what it is. But basically hormones or it's neurotransmitter related. But I'm leaning back towards hormones because you said when you were pregnant, it was at its worst. Okay, so right away, if we can only run, I'd love both labs. I'm not going to lie to you, Savannah. If I had both labs, it'd be fantastic. And definitely run it when you have symptoms. Do not run the lab if you don't have the symptoms. Run the lab the day you have the symptoms. That's what we want to look for, that week before your menstrual cycle. All right, so run the hormone lab, which is the stress hormones, mood, and metabolism lab, if you can only run one. Now, if you can run two, then you run the neurotransmitter one, okay? I think you're going to find either low progesterone and higher levels of estrogen, or normal estrogen, lower levels of progesterone, or you're going to find low progesterone and low estrogen during that drop in that last part of your cycle. We shall see, but again, the only way we'll ever know is by lab testing. So again, all of those labs for gut issues, hormone issues, libido, stamina, endurance, mental clarity, inflammation, all those great tests that we want to run for our body are available over at equilibriumnutrition.com, and then just click on the Labs tab. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, as always, I am deeply appreciative of everyone supporting this movement. It's not my movement, it's our movement. It's what we do as a health community to try to share this information with as many people as we can. And of course, if this podcast was helpful, please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.